Great. So, good to start. Hey, beautiful listeners, welcome back to another empowering episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, where we explore the extraordinary stories and strategies that help us unlock our full potential. I'm your host Avik, and today we are diving deep into the fascinating realm of mental health and the personal transformation. And guess we have got a truly incredible guest with us today. Joining me is Michael Blair. So, welcome to the show, Michael.
Oh, thank you very, very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Lovely, lovely. So, Michael, before we start, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all the listeners. Dear listeners, Michael is a pioneer in the mental health space with over 32 years of experience. And he has dedicated his career to helping people release trauma, reprogram their minds, and find the lasting freedom from emotional pain. And now he has brought his decades of insights together in his new book, When in Doubt, Spin It Out. So, what if you could break free from the patterns and behaviors holding you back in half the time that you thought possible? And what if you could finally let go of emotional pain and rediscover the best version of yourself? So, Michael has developed a collection of therapeutic tools and recipes that promise to do just that. No smoke, no hype, just results.
You
And
got
trust
it.
me, the stories here, yes, he is here to share today, are not to be missed. So, why to wait? Let's get started. Welcome to the show again.
Oh, I'm so grateful to be here. I love to share about this, and this platform is beautiful. And you just do such a great job of moderating. Thank you very much.
Lovely. Thank you so much. And so, Michael, I'm very curious about your new book and the title. Yes, the title. I love the title. When in doubt, spin it out. It's so intriguing. Yeah. So, can you share a story behind this title? What inspired it?
You know, maybe 15 years ago, I went to a workshop with Tim and Chris Halbum sharing
Okay.
the version of this process called the dynamic spin release. And
Mhm.
I sat in the audience there, and there were 60 or so people there. They all gave us a chance while someone else was on stage to experience our own uh, spin work. And as I did that, it just like lit me up. I'm going, oh my gosh, this is something I can do for me and for my clients and teach it to them that they can actually, and we can all
Mm,
together knock out, PTSD, automatic reactions towards people we have, you know, uh,
mm,
all kinds, everything you can, almost anything you can imagine that you want to change from a thought to a
mm,
feeling to a behavior, you can shift it. And I can give you examples forever. But
mm,
after doing that for such a long period of time, maybe 10 years, I decided, you know what, this is not something that most people know how to do for themselves, and it
yeah.
needs to get out to the masses. People need to know this is available. They have salt shaker on their table they use to season their lives. This needs to be on their table to season their lives, and
Mm,
it absolutely takes out the trash and leaves you with, well, a really sweet flourishing life
true.
used effectively. So I
Mm,
decided I had to put it in a book. And so I sat down and began to hammer it out. And oh gosh, coaches came forward, and it's really had a life of its own since then. And we're just really in the beginning stages of getting this to my goal is a
mm,
100,000 families in 2025.
yeah. Perfect. That's a really great one. Yeah. And also, like, it sounds like you have been, you have seen so many lives transformed using this approach. So, was there a kind of success story that solidified your belief in these methods?
Actually, my own personal work was just as
Mhm.
important as the work I did with so many people, but I could give you, there wasn't just one, it was a collection of many, plus my own work. So
Uh,
maybe I can give you an example of a story. So a guy came to me and said, my wife is feeling betrayed by me, even though I am not actively in any way betraying her in the old way that I used to. I've overcome that, but I can't get her past the this feeling of betrayal, and so she's distanced from me. She doesn't trust me. She
Mm,
just really doesn't like me half the time. But she puts up with things, but it's just not a happy deal. He
mm,
said, so he approached her and he said, would you like to try this spin that I've been using to help
mm,
me feel better? And she said, oh, I really would. You know, I love you and I'd like to be close to
mhm,
you. I just don't feel I can. And so what happened is he ran the spin process with her and it knocked out that old feeling and put in, and she immediately felt and plugged into her life a feeling of love through the process that stuck with her, and she immediately began to love, like, and appreciate him
mm,
like she hadn't for years. She then said, okay, can we call our son and see if we can help him with his anxiety?
mhm,
That helped. His wife was sitting there and she said, can I want some of that? And so they helped her with her depression. And then they called a daughter who was away from home, feeling homesick, and that helped her homesickness. And then he was out in the Caribbean on a cruise, and he was feeling
mm,
his wife observed him beginning to be anxious in the water, 10 feet of water.
mhm,
Even though he had a life jacket, ski wampus on him, he was feeling afraid of drowning. And so she yelled out. He grabbed the spin in his own mind, quickly went through it, and fixed that problem, and has never been afraid of the water ever since. So if you want the benefits of taking charge of your life and helping others in your family, like your children, habituate this into their repertoire so they are, shall we say, clean and sober and flourishing in their lives without all those old interruptions collecting and sticking and messing with them. This book, When in Doubt, Spin It Out, might be an answer to your prayer.
yeah. Exactly, exactly. And like your book promises to help people permanently release trauma and unwanted behaviors. That's a bold claim, definitely. So, what makes your approach different from the traditional therapies?
I really thank you for asking that question. The
Mhm,
difference is most therapies are centered around talk therapy. And so there's reframing and cognitive therapy and all kinds of different tools.
mhm,
Not too many therapies really get to the, I'll call it the subconscious level required to make the changes inside. This particular tool, along with others I have in my possession, some of them more on the therapy side instead of on the coaching side, which this is, it actually accesses the inner mind and helps the reprogramming to happen at the subconscious level, which does not necessarily happen in talk therapy. So, in this particular process, the first thing we do is identify what the feeling state is or what the event was and the feeling state, where they feel it in their body, and then there's an imaginatory process to actually pull it out of the body and make it into a shape and a color. They make that shape and that color, and then there's a way to spin out the that in a reverse spin that pain, if you will. They spin it out, and then and through the directions that are given in the recipe, it,
mhm,
they feel free from it. And then we plug in the things they want to put in, like, faith, hope, charity, whatever it is that they
mhm,
pick from the collection that they want in their lives. And there are ways to breathe those in and ways to weave those in, and then a way to go down a timeline to the
mhm,
youngest of them and plug in those same things there, and then grow them up and have it merge together, and then we'll walk into the future and really feel them
mhm.
cement into place. Now that's just a real brief run through. It sounds like, whoa, that's really, you can't do that. Well,
Wow.
yes you can, and the only way to know that you can do it is to experience it personally. If you
Mm,
talk about it, that's great. You can talk about a thorn in your hand all day long, but until you experience it being pulled out,
yeah.
removed, and healed, you really don't know.
Exactly, exactly. And also here, one more thing, like I imagine that there might be some skepticism at first. So, how do you address the doubts or maybe resistance from those who are hesitant to try something new?
You know, I can get, for example, in the book, on page
Okay.
39 of the book, there is a QR code which allows access to an online training for anybody who wants to go there. You can watch 9 videos of people who live sessions who are successful and are raving fans. They actually tell their stories, and they
Mm,
actually go through the process on on camera. And then you can go ahead and there's a video clip that will walk you with my help right through the process.
okay.
Until you experience that process, you don't know what you're missing. There is a brain shift that happens that most people are not aware of and
Mhm.
have never experienced. And so you got to try it. You'll like it. It's really painless. It's really easy. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like you can't believe it would actually happen or work. I've had many clients go and turn to me and say, "What did you do to
Mm,
me?" And I'll go, guess what? You are the one who followed the process and you did it to yourself with my facilitation. That's all. And they go, oh, yeah, I just feel so much better. I can't believe I feel that much better in 10 minutes.
mm. Wow.
So
That's
one of the examples that's really fun is a maid that comes to clean our house every couple of weeks.
mm,
And
mm,
she had found this, she'd been divorced and had a lot of pain associated with that divorce. And that was making her gun shy. Although
mm,
she'd found this really great guy, she really wanted to be close to him, maybe marry him. But she just couldn't because she felt this resistance coming from her experience of the past. And
mm,
so I said to her, with my wife sitting there, would you mind, if you got 5 minutes, let's see if we can work this out. So I had her access the feeling state, same way I told you a minute ago, only, for her custom fit. And in about 5 minutes, she was crying and she asked, can I have a hug? My wife's right there, no big deal. And
mm,
a hug. And she was totally released and relieved, and it stuck. And the evidence is about 3 months later, she's married and they're having a good marriage. And it's a yours, mine, and ours situation. He actually married her with her kids, and they're doing so well. That is the kind of thing that's possible in
uh-huh,
very short time that people can do for themselves, and or you can go through we have coaches online as well to help people that have more complex situation, more complex trauma. They need more help to get through that and or get through the resistances they might have to be able to do the process.
mm. Exactly, exactly. And so you mentioned that you used to be the president of Never Enough Club of America. And I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. So if you can tell us what that means and how you left that mindset behind.
Thank you for asking. I'm glad that you did. It's probably one of my greatest accomplishments in my life because I did feel that way. Long story short, yes, I made up the president idea, but I definitely was in the Not Enough Club of America, not formally, but in concept only.
Mm,
And so what would happen is my wife would say, almost anything she said that was feedback
mm,
to me, I would react to that and feel like it was personal, and I would take it and be hurt and sad and react and sometimes get mad, sometimes get sad. But and other situations as well, I just kind of had this a disbelief in myself. So
mm,
I took that feeling state and worked it over a period of time until I had worked every possible feeling and or experience that was negative that fed to that, and ran it through this process in my personally myself until I chipped away at that and got onto the other side of the mountain, and uh, have been able to now, to the point where if I do have a reaction, if I do or when I do, I quickly fix it and get right back on the horse. And most of the time, I don't have any of those reactions if I'm in a good state of mind and things haven't contaminated me for some reason. And so my days aren't, I'm not worried about, over pleasing her
mm,
or over pleasing anybody, because I realize and recognize that my own self value position is now strong based
Mhm.
on this particular application. Yes, it took some time to do it personally by myself, but it worked really well. And my belief is that that's available to moms and dads. Everybody knows now in the research that happy children come from happy moms.
Mm.
So my favorite clientele is mom and child. They'll come together on the Zoom and we'll do an assessment, and then moms usually pick or choose to do some of their own personal work.
Yeah.
So um, that this is the kind of work, although we do some other more deep, extensive therapies also where we need to, but this
Mm.
is the kind of work that we do, and then moms become calm and relaxed and understanding. They get their kids are not adults and they aren't going to behave like them. They don't get angry at them anymore. And there's this level of cooperation that comes up in the children with the parents, and it just totally changes the flavor. It's probably the best little ridiculously effective parenting tool out there when you think about it, because it really allows for people to get along that couldn't get along because of their reactions before that.
Ah, exactly. And um also I'll come to your book. Like in the book you talk about reconnecting with our true identities. So that sounds so powerful. How does unresolved trauma disconnect us from who we really are?
Thank you for that. Best, let's just go with the examples again. So another guy came to me wanting to help his wife, and she was hating him because of things he'd done.
Oh.
And she came to me and asked me if I would help her turn that around. And
Ah.
so we used this tool to again knock out the old feeling state that she wanted gone, and to plug into her the loving feelings that she wanted. And it worked beautifully. In fact, she in about an hour session, she went from hatred, literally hating him at least half the time, to
Mhm.
loving him 100% of the time. And then she's asking me, I don't know how do I actually behave now that I feel so much love for him, because I've been living this other life for so long. And so we built a way for her to do that. And they have probably got a much something close to what I call a top tier marriage. Only the top 10% are really happy, and I
Yeah.
think they're really happy because they both have done away with their old reactivities, and they don't, because that's gone.
Mm.
They settle into who they really are. You take out the interruptions, and
Mm.
people begin to settle into who they really are. And we do have a recipe for rejoining people, or shall we say, helping to put the keys back into the piano in a harmonic way, the way they belong, rather than the way they sometimes get messed up. So
Mm.
that also helps them to solidify their identity. You take out the pain, that helps a bunch. You put in the good stuff, that helps a bunch. And then there's a real specific process to help solidify that in them for the long term. Then they maintain themselves with the spin and with what I call a self-forgiveness process, which most
Uh-huh.
people forget to forgive themselves. And this is a way to do that real simply and powerfully. So I tell people they get the cake in the
Mm.
spin, they get the icing on the cake with the self forgiveness, and it
Mm.
really sets people up for a flourishing life.
Exactly. Exactly. Great. And for anyone who is listening who feels like they are stuck in their pain or maybe past, what would you say to them to help them believe that their transformation is possible?
The guy that called me up the other day after
Yeah.
reading the book,
Hmm.
When in Doubt, Spin It Out. It's available on Amazon, or you can go to whenindoubt.spinitout.com. Anyway,
Hmm.
he was a client, and he said, I read the book out loud three
Hmm.
different times. It's only
Okay.
about 53 pages to read out loud. It's not very long, about an hour. And he said, then I watched the videos in the back office area, and I had you guide me through with that video that I have included in the training there that comes from the book. And he said, I am so excited. I finally discovered I can take charge of my life. I can take charge of myself. I don't have to be at the mercy of everybody's stuff that gets on me and that I react to. I just don't react anymore because I'm free from the old pain and those old patterns. So taking charge of your life is a real possibility. It's a reality. That's why I've done the book. That's why I've put out the that's why I'm doing this. The mission is to help people take charge of their lives in ways they never knew they could.
Hmm. Wow. Great. Lovely, lovely. And if they want to dive deeper into your methods, where's the best place for them to start? What is it?
Well, if you really want to dive deeper, then you give me
Ah,
a call. You go through my website. There's a phone number there to reach me. You can talk to me personally right now until I get rich and famous, I guess. Someday maybe. I'm not here for that. I'm here to help some people. If that comes along, that'd be nice. But the primary outcome is I love the smiles. I love the changes. I love the testimonials. I love the recordings that we have. I love that people actually get happy and they can be happy most of, if not all of the time, in ways they couldn't do before because they never reached the subconscious change agents that are available through something as simple as a spin and then more complex as needed. I have some other tools they can get on the site and access me at Blair Counseling and Coaching.com. And over there, I can give them either assign a coach that knows how to do what I do with a spin, or I can do some trauma conversion therapy work with people. Usually, PTSD, for example, is gone in 7 sessions, whereas a lot of times people are in treatment for their whole lives to try to get that fixed.
perfect, perfect, lovely, great. So, Michael, this has been such an enlightening conversation, and I'm so inspired by your work and your insights and the real hope that you are bringing to people who have been struggling for years. And for the listeners, I have to mention, like, if Michael's words have resonated with you, then go check out his book. When in doubt, spin it out. I'm really loving this. I'm really loving this. I mean, if it was not your book name, then I might have been taken as this as a podcast of my another show. So
Yeah.
definitely I've taken it. Yeah. So I really loving this topic, which has a great meaning. I really love it. So dear listeners, take action today. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start your journey towards healing and the freedom. And as Michael said, the tools are out there, and you have the power to reclaim your identity and design the life that you deserve. So, thank you again, Michael, for sharing your wisdom and the passion with us. And for all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning into Healthy Mind and Healthy Life. And do not forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who might need to hear it. So, till then, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.